Right. Yeah, every one of them. Every one of them.
We need the countdown. Real talk. We don't have the
No,
countdown.
we need to get OBS and
Yeah.
actually be official about it, and that's like the next step for us.
Speaking of which, this is also a certified nerd over here, just so you guys know.
Oh, word.
Yeah, this
Indeed.
is
Okay.
this is he doesn't just play 9 instruments, he's also a nerd.
Oh, I love it.
Listen, man, I learned a lot from this guy.
Man,
So you ever use OBS,
here
folks?
we go. 25. No, but once I look at it, I'm pretty sure I can tinker.
Word.
Yeah, I can tinker. Okay, I'm pulling in now.
All right, I just tweeted. All right, let me start off. So, what's up, everybody?
Still not
Welcome
enough
back
time,
to 3
but
Beats
okay.
Later, huh?
Still not enough time, but okay.
No, it's cool. Go ahead. Just
Go,
keep going.
do we gotta do Twitch it up, share it all together. I'm just saying hello, everyone. Beats Later. This is episode 27. You can see that this is the MicroSampling episode. We made 3 beats by MicroSampling, and we'll get into that. We're gonna break it down in a little bit. We also have a special guest on that we will introduce in just a second. I'm going to go through a couple of business items up front. So we told you about this very recently, but we have some very exciting information to share with everybody. So give me 2 seconds to share my screen. All right. It's 3beats8.itemorder.com, and all of our gear is in. Check it out. It's official.
Official.
The site is up. The site works. And check it out. We got Carhartt hats. P, show us what you're wearing over there.
Yeah, so this is the official 3BL Carhartt edition, 3 Beats Later situation that I have on, camo colored. Had to keep it funky.
I got the military hat over here. Also we're gonna be doing a giveaway pretty soon, but the book bag came in too. But
Nice.
just go online. We're gonna tweet this out. We're gonna share it. All of our gear is there. So again, if you purchase any gear, that just only helps support us and helps us keep doing this and creating music with the community and sharing music online together. So we will tweet this out. 3beatslater.itemorder.com. We got the whole jackets, we got the book bag, and we got the mask, the Gator mag. All right, I'm gonna kick it over to E. He has some announcements too. And he's on mute. E is on mute. We can't. There you go.
All right, there we go. I'm back. So I just wanted to introduce this man over here that you see in the car with the headphones on.
I'm a young man.
With headphones on. So this is Thugzman right here, producer from Buffalo, New York area, residents in many states, many countries, But you go ahead and introduce yourself, bro, and then we got a ton of questions for you, man.
Peace and salutations, greetings and love, peace, prosperity. I go by the name of Thugzman. My daddy named me Robert. I do music. Everybody does music, but I do music with the anointing of God. And no, I'm not a motherfucking gospel singer. It just got that anointing to it. Gangster music with the anointing. So yeah.
So I'm gonna jump right in, man. I got questions, and everybody else has questions as well. My first question is, what was the first instrument you learned how to play?
Drums.
Dope.
Yeah.
Now, how old were you?
2.
Oh damn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Conversation's over. Shit, this motherfucker.
It's
shit. I got you gonna eat.
It's good. It's good to have an instrumentalist on that stream. Finally.
So
Finally.
how many I have a quick question. How many instruments do you play?
I'll say I play 4 very well.
Okay.
But I can play maybe 7. I can play.
Wow.
I won't say maybe 7. But I can play 7.
Have you had formal training, or was it something you just picked up on your own? Or
I picked it up on my own, and then they wanted to give me formal training to understand what I was playing. It's like painting a picture and understanding why you're using certain hues and shadows, but you don't know why. Yeah,
I see what you're saying. I'm gonna go ahead and say it, man. Your new album, Cena, is one of the most well-produced albums I've heard in a while. Um,
Oh,
and I'm very impressed with the musicality of it. How much of it did you produce, and how many of those instruments on that album do you play?
I've actually played every single instrument. One song was produced by my brother Vega, which is the Latino title track. He did that. But everything else, man, I played everything: pianos, drums, drum programming. Yeah,
There's a lot of church organs on there. Like,
a lot of Hammond B3. Yeah, yeah. I
okay,
purposely did that.
wow. All right. So, I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, from a production standpoint, not only the composition of the beats, because it's still street, it's still grimy, but then it also has that. I hate to compare it to something else, but like if I'm thinking about the Maybach music records that Rick Ross gets on, I hate to
Yeah.
try to put you in a category, but it just brings me that feeling in a good way, where it's just like you could tell that it was produced. It wasn't some loop-de-loop sample shit. It was somebody who thought of a record from beginning to end, and what I mean, structured it and created it. But
Mm,
then on top of the fact that you played all the instruments,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
that's amazing.
Kind of reminds me of Tame Impala,
mm,
the rock band. A lot of people think it's a rock band, but it's really just one dude in the studio playing all the different instruments, singing all the
mm.
different vocals. He's doing the drums, he's doing the bass, he's doing the keys, he's doing the vocals, he's doing the backup vocals. That's what it kind of sounds like you're doing, where you're just being like, yo, I'm the whole shit, I'm the whole band. What I mean, and the backup and singers. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's really really dope.
Can can
So hats
can
off to you, brother.
speaking
Thank
about
you.
playing the instruments, are you playing bass on the track Lamb?
Yeah, that little run.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to loop it. I had to kind of get it together to loop it.
Uh,
But yeah, I did it.
okay. Nasty. Okay. He's official.
Yeah.
I'm a bass player. I'm a bass player. I'm a guitar player. So yeah, I love the bass. I love listening to bass. So can we talk about like composition a little bit? So, I think from a producer who's able to kind of play every single instrument, your mind is probably going to attack a track in a different way, especially if you're also rapping on that track as well. Like in terms of the creation of a track, do you have a starting point when you're putting something together? Does it start with the keys and a chord melody? Does it start with just the beat alone, like the drums? Or do you start with like chords from lyrics? How do you attack? And especially with La Cena, how did you build some of these tracks in terms of creating each composition?
You know what? I was asked this question at a different interview, and the guy couldn't understand it when I told him. Every situation was different for me. So in my voice memo, I have a lot of different words or phrases or choruses that I think would be something, and then I would maybe beatbox. So I would go, whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
and then I would maybe sometimes I heard the chord in my piano earring voicings, and maybe sometimes I heard the bass first, or sometimes I heard the drums verse. I mean,
Mhm.
first, excuse me. Like. Was different. Like how So it's no starting
Starting
point.
point.
It's just you
It's
just
different each
figure it
time.
out.
And
Yeah, each time.
what about so if it's different every time, that makes sense. But do you see yourself kind of building the like verses as the track is being built, or do you kind of separate yourself and build a whole beat and then come back to it later and say, okay, let's add lyrics, or is that all kind of happening simultaneously?
As far as my music, I tend to make a skeleton of what I believe is gonna be a final project. Then I may write or rap or whatever the fuck, put something on it, and then I'll come back to it and paint over it from what I'm saying.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And then can we talk about drums a little bit?
Hmm.
So, I have a lot of, so I played music for a long time. I have a lot of drummer friends, and especially those drummers that kind of get into production too. What I see being like the norm now is going into the studio, miking up the drums, playing all the drums, and then when you have that final track, you're actually going and just triggering or taking out specific drum hits and then putting in a sample in its place. And I kind of hear from friends of mine that that's like very common for hip hop specifically. Do you do any of that where you're like jilling track on the drums from a loop standpoint and then plugging in one shots after the fact? Or is it all just raw playing, you're miking up the drums, you're playing it, and that's going to hit the album?
For a few of those songs, I would say like the song Rebuke, the song Syrup Sandwiches.
Mm-hmm.
For those, when I tend to do my drumming, I like it to breathe. So I don't want it to be mechanical. I don't want to post and pay. I don't want to paint and post. I don't want to Mario paint in my shit. So I want it to be like if a drummer was playing it on stage, even if he fucked up,
Okay.
I want it to live. I want the music to live, to have air. So it's not just it's so perfect that it's great.
Yeah.
So I just go straight raw. Pause.
Okay, so then it's like live sounds basically is
Yeah.
what. Oh, that's insane, man.
I got a
See,
question. Wait,
he's the one that introduced me to you, and I mean, we're all from Buffalo. Like I played in the music scene in Buffalo too. But once I started listening to your stuff, and he was telling me that you do everything, it was.
So can we talk Buffalo real quick? Just in terms of, what's happening in Buffalo and how a lot of upstate talent is being exposed currently with the trajectory of hip hop right now. And where do you see yourself in this rise of Buffalo hip hop, considering your sound and your history with the city?
What do I see myself? I still view myself as the little guy still trying to kick in and fight the machine. I still have that disposition or that standpoint.
Okay.
What you call it? Like of course I came in with some power hitters, and they were, I won't say under me, but we work together. Let's put it like that. You know what I'm saying? Now maybe they are in a higher space. So me, I view myself as still being the same guys trying to change the sound. Like, we got to think about it. Like now Buffalo got a sound. It might be a sound that we heard before, but we got a sound.
Yeah.
So me, I have a sound. So I still view myself as pushing the limits. Like, you know what? You know what's crazy? And I'm gonna say this. I got an idea, and hopefully nobody steals it. Not y'all, but the people who watch. I want to do a hip hop album, and I want to have fucking rock over hip hop. Now I don't want to say too much, but my fucking vision is nuts. I want like the punk rock band to just blow speakers and play shit with crazy MP3 drums and just rap over and just kill shit.
Wow.
Well, you got the musicality to pull something like that off.
Yeah, you could do that yourself. Actually, you could.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to be more. I wanted to be
Tame
Impala
Impala the whole shit. just Tame Impala the whole shit just in the studio for a weekend. Yeah, no, that's an amazing vision. And yeah, just the only reason I even asked that question is because in regards to talent, you're amongst the best that Buffalo has to offer. So that's why I just want to see your shine. But also, like, here's another side question in terms of COVID and just the way that music is and just the way the music industry is now. I feel like there's been a shift. I feel like I think it's interesting how the infrastructures that control music, whether it be a Spotify or Apple Music, they were fine. They had good years, even though a lot of new albums didn't come out. A lot of artists aren't releasing music as much as they were before COVID. There's no touring, all of that. So there has to be, as artists, they have to change. So I guess as a side question, how do you feel in 2021, your approach to music and releasing music has changed, if it has changed at all?
You know what? I'll say it has changed, but it changed because of the fact that quarantine kind of pushed a lot of people to be more creative inside and figure out ways to get the music out. So, now you realize, you lose a lot of people in the quarantine and the pandemic, and now it's a lot of pressure on me. It's like, okay, well, I got tons of music. I don't want to waste it. So now I'm putting more music out, and I'm putting more focus on music opposed to just, sitting at home and cooking great meals and playing video games. It's like now you understand time is not promised, you know. So
Mhm.
I guess a lot of artists are now working like, wow, time is not promised. Now you start to, what you don't appreciate it. You know what I mean? So now we're appreciating it. So we're putting things out. That's what I think.
So I have a
Um,
question. I have a question
go ahead.
now.
Go ahead.
So with the project that you just dropped,
Mhm.
what song would you say is your favorite track to listen to, if you listen to your own music at all?
I rarely do, but my favorite track to listen to on that particular
On
album.
that particular album.
Oh Jesus, man. You gave me one. God damn it. Uh, you know what? I think Rebuke is my favorite.
Right. Now, okay,
Yeah.
now I got a side question to that. Please tell me you got a
Mhm.
Rebuke shirt under the hoodie, bro. Please show the brand.
Mm.
Come on, man. You know the vibes, man. I ain't even
Right,
dressed,
right, right.
but I'm gonna hold it down. Yeah. Let me
So
give it up.
Rebuke is his clothing line / everything line.
And I don't
This
even
dude,
sell it.
he don't even
They
sell
can't
it.
have it.
You can't
I
even
don't
get
want to
it.
sell it. Nope.
You won't even get it. So, but it's I love the fact that he had a track called Rebuke and has a clothing. I don't even want to call it a brand because you can't buy it nowhere. But he
Mm.
makes clothing and it says Rebuke on it. And to me, I was like, yo, that's so clever that you have a track aligned with your purpose and your vision. Like I don't know if I've seen you since you had that without a Rebuke shirt on.
Yeah, I always
So
wear it.
that's
Yeah.
that's good that you said that track. My favorite track on the joint obviously is BU, but
Yeah.
Kojic Kids is like my close second just because it's so important. But you know the drink that I rock with the hardest on the album, Me and the Devil.
Oh, a lot of people
That
really like that record,
dude,
man. Yeah.
listen, that conversation is a conversation so many people have had, not with those exact words, but with just those, understanding the polarity of our own mind. That's just like crazy to me.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I definitely appreciate you, man. Just taking the time to kick it with us, man. Before you leave, what I'm gonna ask you to do is either throw out a challenge for us, something you came up with in your mind, or you could look at the list that we have and pick a challenge. I prefer to get a challenge from just straight from you.
Okay, you know what? What I'll do is if you can give me maybe two things on your challenge list, and
Okay.
maybe I can, yeah, I can.
Yep.
Okay. So Corey,
I'll
you
do that
wanna
right now. Yep. I'll
okay.
share that right now.
Mhm.
Uh,
Okay, challenge list. Okay.
Because we
one
go
second.
every week, every Monday night. So more than welcome to come back if you want to jump on one of these challenges as well. Feel free to do that. I know you're busy, but if you got time to make a beat with one of these challenges,
No, man,
Before
it's you, man. I ain't too busy for you. You know, you can
appreciate
come to
it.
my mama house and eat in macaroni. Come on now. You know you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
before we
Yeah.
forget too, we want to make sure we tell people where to listen to your album. But let's look at the wheel. So the wheel, and I'll go down the list. Sample Jocko
Mhm.
Pastorius, make a house beat. The idea here is to go and find instructional videos from different musicians and sample
Mhm.
them and piece together a track with instructional video samples. Sample a TV theme song. This one is for all of us on the three hosts to make an actual hip hop beat together. This one is for us to create any beat that we want, but we have to record hooks. So it's just a little. This was about sampling Alexander O'Neill. This one is to find two different plugins that we haven't used before and then incorporate them into a track. And then this one is to go out and find some loop kits made by other producers and then take the loop kit and then build a track off of a loop in the loop kit. So when we spin the wheel, it's going to land on something completely random.
Mhm.
But we have a room to either you choose one and we'll just do that this week, or we could add it to the list, or
I already
close the
know what
mind.
I
And
already know
that's kind of where it's
I know what I'm favoring already. But go ahead, let's roll the wheel. We're gonna figure this out.
Well, let's hear what you favoring already. I want to know.
The make a beat off the TV show thing.
My guy, my guy. That was my
Yeah.
that was one of my picks.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, like I would love the obscure ones. Like I just want somebody to just make something like, yeah, this is from 1953. Like what?
Right, the first TV
Yeah,
show of all. She didn't have TVs yet.
right, right, right.
All right, so
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 so we
we
gonna
can just go
spin.
with that.
should we
I
just
mean,
have him pick it or have him choose
Nah,
something
we'll just do
completely
it. We'll do it. We'll do
we
that.
yeah, we can have
I
him pick
like
it.
that because I would overdo it.
See, that's why I want you to do it.
There we go.
So you have 7 days, sir.
7?
7 days, and you can come back and join us next week, Monday, and participate in the challenge.
All right, I'll be in the studio right in front of the joints. I got you now.
Perfect.
Don't play with me.
I ain't playing. I ain't playing. This is a non-competition. Meekly not just fucking with you. No, come with it, because now I got to go hard at it. See,
can I throw another question out there too about the album too?
Of course.
You know, especially with COVID, I think a lot of musicians and producers I know, like everyone just up their home studio game. How much of your albums are you creating in your home studio? Are you completing full tracks in your home studio, or does everything have to go into like an official studio, professional studio, whatever you want to call that? Because I see a trend where people are making whole albums at home and it's sounding official.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll say a trick here. What I did with this album is I didn't write anything down. I didn't write any lyrics on a piece of paper. So what I did was I have an office, of course, with a studio in it. I would just tinker with the beat, come up with what I thought, and then I would take a microphone and put it in the in the front of the room, shut the doors, and put my headphones on, and then I would freestyle to the music. So every song I just freestyled this shit. And then it's not like an ongoing freestyle, so we ain't gonna say I just was that perfect,
right?
But it was just giving ideas. So all of this is basically home studio. I didn't send it out to get mastered. I mixed and mastered everything. I leveled everything. I sat there to get the drum fucking right, the bass right, everything. I sat there to make sure everything was perfect in my own
setup,
enclosure. Yeah, my own setup, and yeah.
Okay. I got one last question before we let you go. Well, two questions. Number one,
take your time.
Where can people check out the album at? And what location they can get it from get you the most money? That we can drive people there.
I like that. You got iTunes. You can type in Thugzman, Thugzman. And honestly, I'm such an arrogant piece of shit with the anointing that I hate to have to, like, I hear artists all the time, right? And they be like, yo, you can follow me. I don't give a fuck if you follow me. This is for God's children. This is the anointing of God. If you are blessed to hear this and understand what I'm doing, this is for you. It's a secret society. All we ask is trust.
Thanks.
Anyway, Spotify, iTunes, you can type in Thugzman. It ain't hard to find. And how many Thugzmans is it? You know what I mean?
Just 6.
You have it, right? Right, yeah. A new one came yesterday. Yeah, that YouTube, you can look it up. It's not hard to find, man. Cena, if you type in Thugzman Cena in Google, you'll find that right away, man.
That's what's up, man. My second question to you and last question to you is do you plan on doing another for those that don't know already, you did an unplugged a couple weeks ago. Do you plan on doing another unplugged, and if so, where will you be doing it at for people to watch? Like, where can people watch it at?
They are really changing guidelines and releasing regulations. So I'm going to kind of wait and then figure out where I'm gonna do it. A lot of people getting vaccinations and things are trying to get a little more steady, normal, per se. So I'm gonna wait, but this one I'm gonna do it, man. We coming in, we gonna have I might even cater the motherfucker. I might cook all the food. So the catfish and greens, I made it. And the kale, because I'm uppity,
right?
Yeah, all the vegan food, yeah. So I'll figure that part out at a later time. So we'll know.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you coming through, taking time. You know what I'm saying? Letting us, pick your brain, and I'm excited about this next week's challenge, man. So we typically go on Monday nights. We do sound check at 9:15. We go live at 9:30. So, man, I look forward to seeing you next week. I'll talk to you before then. But any last words for the people or any other projects you got? First of all, let me back up real quick. When are you putting out the unreleased stuff that I be asking you about? Now I'm putting you on the spot.
You are. You know what? I am actually okay. So I'll say this here. I didn't say this anywhere else, but this album was was gonna be my last album of rapidy rap. You know what I mean? I only did it because a lot of people now the world is viewing us here in Buffalo, so they forget certain people. It's like, no, nigga, I'm rap. I'll kill you.
Right.
but I have so much more to offer. So I don't know now whether I want to do another rapidy rap album or if I want to go into the hits because I'm a hit maker. So I'm not sure. So it's gonna be one of the two.
Yo,
I don't know what I'm doing, man.
I need you to put out a couple tracks for me, man. Specifically, I need the conversation. I need the setup, and I need you to re-release. I definitely need you to re-release and do a video for Soul Searching.
Oh wow.
I still got the video in my head for Soul Searching, man.
That's crazy. And I still talk to dude. Me and him both fucking facing goddamn gun charges. Ain't that a bitch? Yeah, I said that on a goddamn Zoom.
Water guns, man. Water guns.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. It wasn't mine. Okay, all right. No.
But yo, listen, man. For real, I appreciate you coming through, man. Definitely keep us posted, and we'll see you back next week.
Yeah, man. Hell yeah, I'll be back.
Awesome, man. Peace.
All right, peace,
y'all. Peace and love, y'all.
Yep.
And we're back.
So that was one of many random impromptu interviews we'll be doing with producers on our show. We also have a segment of interviews with dope producers that Cheeky CP hosts. He just did one yesterday. You want to tell people about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna edit it, and it should be out probably sometime next week. But I had very special guest and YouTuber Marcus Elbow on the series that is called Very Dope Producers. And if you don't know about Marcus Elbow, he is a producer. Started off his career as a DJ. He's from Houston, and his stream is really fun because what he does is he produces music and shows everybody how to produce music using iOS device, phones, iPads, and there's a lot out there. And you know me, I am an advocate for Beatmaker 3, wherever the hell my iPad is. Right. And that's actually how I came across Marcus, because his videos about Beatmaker 3 are pretty sick. And he goes really into detail with all the apps that are available on your phone in order to make music. Plugins, they kind of are like plugins. And they can incorporate into things like Beatmaker 3 on your iPad, etc. But Marcus has a stream, and it is just look up Elbow Media Studios, and he has a lot of followers, and he has a live stream every Saturday night where people are chopping it up in the chat, and it's filled with other beat makers and producers too. So if you don't know about him, check him out, and then I will post the interview that I had with him. We kind of go through his bio and how he's building this community. So definitely check it out once we drop it. It should be out next week.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So let's jump in, man. Who's going first this week?
So should we get the worst one out of the way? Because I have...
There's no worst ones on 3 Beats Later. We don't talk like that. So
copping a plea already.
Yeah, there's no pleas copped. But if you want to go first...
Okay, let me get this over with is what I'm trying to say. Let me get this over with.
Okay, so give some context, because this isn't normally your style. So tell us why it was difficult for you this week.
Okay. Well, you just heard part of the reason was the interview took up a lot of time prepping for that and getting that ready. And then I also am in the middle of working with an artist right now and trying to complete a track. So among working and all the other things that's going on in life, I am really trying to lock this track down. So I had zero time to actually do what I wanted to do. But I still had some fun though. So this was a great challenge because I haven't really dived too much into what we did this week. So I'm going to shut up and just show you what we can, I guess, call a beat. I really don't know if this
muting my engine.
But mute your engines, and then let me make sure my audio is right too, because I just swooped it up. Yep, I'm good. Okay. So I'm going to play this. And then the cool thing is like I try to stay on target with microsampling, right? So here we go. I'm just going to play this. Oh, hang on. Here we go. So that's the beat. Really, the whole thing I'm trying here was I was trying to build a complete song made out of just every single micro chop, right? A micro sample, sorry. So I'm gonna show you what I did. So I have a couple of things listed out. An organ, right? So I try to get an organ sound. So just to be official about everything, I want you to see something here. So when we look at what I'm doing, I actually have a chop that is within microseconds here. So it's 31,355 roughly to 31,357 or something like that, right? And if you listen to this note, that's it right there. So in Logic, what you can do is you can use the sampler, and the sampler will allow you to take a wave file, right? And this is the whole wave. So obviously now once you zoom out a million times, it actually looks like an actual wave file, right? But I made the samples so small within microseconds that what it does is it creates a tone when you actually have it set to loop forward. Okay, so that sounds like an organ. And I'm using my, my MIDI controller to play that same note, but it's now mapping against my MIDI board, and that allows me to get this tone. So the key with microsampling is you end up finding a tone. So I'm gonna take off all, show you how that tone sounds. Right, it sounds like a crappy like square wave, right? And then you start to affect that tone with different effects, right? So here we go, here's a pedal board. And what I did on the pedal board was I added some fuzz and an octave. Then I used some EQ to take some of the highs out. I then used tremolo just to create that wavy effect that's going on. And then I used some gain to turn up volume just a little bit. There we go. And then I used delay or chorus, delay, and reverb, right? And it actually sounds like an organ. And the funny thing is, if you actually look at what this sample was, so I'm just gonna duplicate this track really quick, and I'm just gonna pull the sample for you, just so you could understand what this is. This one little tiny chop is this right here. Oops, sorry. Don't loop, don't loop, don't loop. So I'm gonna have it say no loop. Okay, here we go. That's me singing with some auto-tune on my voice. And if you actually listen to the whole thing, it sounds like this. So I try to stay to the core of what we were trying to do, really get into the microseconds and use that as a tone. But the same sample is used all the way down. So here we have the organ. I'm just going to delete that really quick. Organ with tremolo, then an organ that I really didn't do anything with that. The next thing that you'll hear is like a keys. And what I'm doing there is let me take off the arpeggiator. Again, same thing. It sounds a little bit more high pitched. I took a different part of that singing and really cut it down into the microseconds. But this time, and I'll solo this track, it actually sounds like this. So everyone talks about, buying like $2,000 like that. Microsampling is really just delving into sound design, because you're taking a tone and you're affecting it in a way that it will actually create what you want it to create, right? That's just me playing on the MIDI keyboard. Oh, that same small microsecond of my singing, right? Okay, the next thing is a snare. And I'm just gonna solo the snare sound that I got out of this. That again is my voice. What I did here was I did a lot of EQ to cut the lows, cut the highs, and accent the mid, use some gain. And then I used the tried and true bit crusher. A digital effect. We were talking about bit crushing when we did the when we did the game sampling, because some of those old retro games had a bit crusher. So you're basically just taking the resolution down in the sample, and it sounds a little bit like a snare. I added some reverb, and that's how I use a snare sound. The next thing is a hi-hat, and this is a little bit more just straight up. In the phrase, I had an actual word that started with a T, so I took the T. Nothing crazy there, right? That's my hi-hat. The bass was a little bit harder. I did a lot of effecting to make this like a synth sounding bass. Again, what we're dealing with is a scenario where you have different part of that singing sample. Like it's still within a second or less. It's one, yeah, it's like less than a second here. I'm using a filter that's built in the sampler on Logic. And I am using a lot of effects. So the effects that I used were gain, again, a bit crusher, EQ, and reverb. And it sounds like a synth, right? So some of these tones are really cool, and it just kind of shows you that you necessarily straight, again, 3,000 pennies on some sort of plugin when you have some fundamentals to try to affect any kind of sample, right? Then I cheated and I used a bass kick. So this is where I didn't have enough time. I just used a bass kick. All that combined, basically, this is what we were left with here. Here we go. Let me just play it. So if I had more time, it would have been dope, but that's what I got. So I'm gonna open up to the guys.
Okay. I think it was still dope. P.
Sounds
like a P.
I don't know why you were sounded like you had a lot of time. Shit, you could have fooled me. I mean, I didn't. I'm impressed with that you microsampled all of your sounds.
Yeah,
that was something that I definitely didn't think to do. And then also, I like the chord progression on the fake organ. This is
the Forgan.
Honestly,
You can call it the Forgan.
Right, the Forgan. Honestly, like even though this might be a beat that you might not think is one of your better ones, but honestly, it's a really dope beat to like rap to. Like,
okay.
Like this beat elicits songwriting to me because it's kind of creepy and it's dark, and it has a bop that is open, has space for rhyming. And honestly, outside of the main sound, I wouldn't have known if any of those other sounds were microsampled. I didn't, I really didn't. So that's what's actually very impressive to me, is that you found a way to generate all your sounds for microsampling. So bravo, sir.
Yes,
very
thank
good.
you. That was my goal, but it was, if I had more time, it would have been a more creative actual composition.
You're breaking rule number 1. I loved it. I think it was dope, and I'm very excited that you did it. I'm very excited that you thought so highly of yourself to even dive into it that way, because you did a lot with this project that, even though you may not like it, a lot of times we make music we don't like because it works for what we're doing, right? So in the vein of the challenge, you did a good job. You may not like the beat, but you did what you set out to do, and you did it well.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we even, like in production, we do projects like that where I don't like this song, but the artist loves the song. I've done beats where I've given P beats where it's like, I hate this, and he turns it into, a hit. Like, so for me, I'm just like, it's all about what did you do what you set out to do, and you did, and we like it. You don't like it, but you don't matter. So I'm gonna go next, I guess.
Right.
I'm gonna save the best for last, so let P go last. And so I'm gonna play my beat next. Before I do, I want to just shout out, obviously, Fine Wine Enterprises, as always. Unfortunately, I did not save it for the whole show because I've been sipping since we started. But yeah, If you haven't ordered yet, please go get you some because this is dope. And tell her I sent you. And yeah, this is definitely a fire situation right here. So make sure you get you some of this Fine Wine Enterprises right here. So hit them up, finewineenterprises.net. And so I'm going to jump in. I'm going to jump in with my beat. So bear with me just a second here. So I'm going to play my beat, and I'll tell you what I did after. So engines are already muted. So here we go. So here on this track, I will break down, go into what we did here. So we took a very common song and we just chopped this one little piece of it. So I'll go here and I'll just. So I grabbed this little chop piece of Funny How Time Flies by Janet Jackson, and just this random part of the song that I love so much. And I just grabbed this one less than a second portion of it, and I flipped it into the sounds right here. So I did that. And then so I took it high, took it low, but then for the verse part, I kind of did something different where I chopped it and played with a little VST that I'm going to show you guys today. So for this, to accomplish this sound, I went ahead and got, it's called Peel by Z Plane. So Peel is a dope plugin. And what Peel does, it helps you isolate the sounds and the frequencies in a sample or in your track. So here is where we worked with Peel. So I'm going to open up the track right here. So this is just the track by itself. So that's the track. Now, of course, when you are sampling or microsampling, you want to get you a tuner. If you're in Ableton, you want to get a tuner to make sure you tune your sound to your middle C or to C, so that when you're rocking with it, you know the notes that it's in. So when you're hitting these keys, it's falling on the same notes as your other keys will when you bring in it. Oh, so make sure you have a tuner. But if you have Peel, drop Peel on that joint. And so here's what I did here. So I'm gonna play it, and I'm gonna let you hear what Peel does. So this is Peel, and only what's in the box shows up. So if I was to say, this is what I want. So with Peel, like I said, I was just messing around with it, and so I grabbed it here, I took it here. So I let that rock throughout the verse of the beat, just so you know if it ever goes to a rapper beat, it doesn't like bury the rapper in the track. So I made sure that I had that in there. So I used Peel to kind of match that. So and when you use Peel, they do have a demo version of the Peel, which is cool because it gives you 5 minutes. If you're on the fence about using it, download Peel, and then you have up to 5 minutes to use it. It is fully functional, so it's not like you get a temporary version of it or some kind of watered down version. You get the full thing, but for 5 minutes. But you can still just load it back in if you pass the 5 minutes. So so what I did was I grabbed the 808 and I kind of mirrored the beat with the 808. So I mirrored the beat and also mirrored my bass with Moto Bass. Big shout out to Moto Bass. Also, big shout out to P because he now has it, so he can't bug me at the end of every episode anymore. All right, so that's my bass. Now take it to the drums. So I love cymatics a lot. So I love chopping up their loops and making my own drum patterns out of it. So here's my drum that I used this week. And then I always got to shout out cymatics and just make sure I throw something in there that just stays in the vein of what they do. So I had to throw this little this in here as well. This little percussive top. They call it a hi-hat top. So now what I did with this was I panned it. So I took the file, I put the auto pan on, so it's bouncing frequencies between left and right in your ears as you hear the sound. So it gives it that living, breathing feel. And then I grabbed another cymatics percussive loop and I chopped it to just make this piece right here. So this is, you'll hear this piece throughout the track. So that goes through the track. And then lastly, actually that's it. That's the track. So yeah, full track. And then yeah. I'll open it up to the guys.
Very nice.
Appreciate it.
Very impressive. I really like the it kind of gave me like a little bit of a West Coast vibe a little bit with the frequency that you took the pitch to. And the energy that followed. Once again, another track that I could easily rap to. So definitely I'm noticing from both of you guys' beats that you were able to create sounds. You guys kind of used it as I think Corey said what sound engineering or whatever.
Sound design.
Sound design, right. So you used your micro samples to craft an instrument. And I think, the whole purpose of this was to try to beat the machine I think you guys definitely did a really good job in terms of that. It's so kudos to you, E, for that, because I really feel that you just were able to use it to your advantage.
Yo, and I'm very mad at you for showing me Peel, because now I'm super jealous. Do you have the full version of it right now?
I do.
Oh my god, man!
I was trying to. So full disclosure, all week I've been trying to get these guys on Zoom to show them Peel, and they, people have been busy. We have lives, even at 1 a.m, but it's cool. So I was trying to show these guys because I thought for this challenge it would be very helpful to pull out random, like this app, this program gets even more specific than that. Like I have other beats that I've made over the last 7 days with Peel, just with like the tiniest piece of a song that you would never know you could pull out. So yeah.
So this reminds me of like, that's some shit that like the FBI would use. Like when it comes to you see me mess with the EQ in Logic or whatever, and what you're able to do in Logic is, mess with the EQ, and it's a graphic EQ, and you could like turn down the lows, turn down the highs, whatever. But you can't really create a wall where zero of these frequencies get through, right? You try, but there's always going to be some of that frequency that will kind of bleed through, right? That is like, at the studio that I recorded at most recently, the sound engineer and the mixer, he had some crazy shit like this that I saw them use. Seriously, I'm not even kidding. Like these murder watching, where they have to like go in and find some crazy audio from a serial killer who's on the phone, and they're trying to like just isolate certain frequencies. That's like what Peel looks like it's doing. So I want to try that out, because very often I want to just completely create a wall around the lows, a wall around the highs, and just shut it off, so that way there's nothing there. But that looks wild, man. That's dope.
I'm going to show you one last thing about Peel too, because I didn't get a chance to really show you this, but since you brought that up, I will. So you can also isolate and invert it. So you can pick the sound you hear. So I'm going to do this again.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So.
Oh my God. Wait, did you just hear those keys too? You just isolated just the keys. Can we find that again? I think it was lower. Oh, that's crazy, man.
Yeah. And P, you would love this, because you can grab the bass out of songs. Yeah, you would love this. But yeah, so that's really, a lot of what I did with this track. I had a lot of fun. I had another beat that I made, but I decided to make another one today.
Good job.
Talking to P.
Good job, E.
No doubt. So P, take us home, brother, man. Let us hear this fire you got, man. Did he leave? I think he left. He quit. You can't quit. You can't quit.
All right. Pressure zone.
Pressure zone, but guess who ain't going to crack?
Gentlemen, mute your engines.
Engine muted.
Yeah. My name is Piso Earth Tone, and this is how I made it. And this is the MicroSampling challenge. Yep. Headphone switch. All right. Here we go.
I've always felt that as long as it was done properly and licensed properly, so that all of the creative artists that are involved in it participate and can profit from it, then from my standpoint, the more the better. And yes, I'm happy to see what can happen with young producers who grab onto some piece of my music. I've always felt that as long as it was done properly and licensed properly, so that all of the creative artists that are involved in it participate and can profit from it, then from my standpoint, the more the better. And yes, I'm happy to see what can happen with young producers who grab onto some piece of my music. I've always felt that as long as it was done properly and licensed properly, so that all of the creative artists that are involved in it participate and can profit from it, then from my standpoint, the more the better. And yes, I'm happy to see what can happen with young producers who grab onto some piece of my music.
Okay, so the name of the game is microsampling. So I just thought about this in a lot of different ways, and I got really kind of like cerebral with it because I instantly thought of Bob James as being the most sampled producer of all time. So I thought it'd be funny to sample Bob James. And I watched an interview of him with Ninth Wonder, which just dropped last week. Highly encourage you watch the interview of Ninth Wonder and Bob James. So if you don't know, Bob James is known as one of the most sampled musicians of all time. His music is amazing. He put out a bunch of instrumental music. If you don't know him, please learn you some and get up on some Bob James. So being the most sampled producer in hip hop, I thought it'd be funny to sample him to do the micro sampling, but I also sampled the interview. So I kind of sampled him talking about being sampled. And the first song that he heard sampled was by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, and it was a song called Westchester Lady. Now, of course, they sampled it straight up. They just basically looped the sample, and Bob James heard it, and he kind of didn't know how to take it. So I thought it'd be kind of funny to not only sample that record, but also sample him talking about his first experience with hearing sample. And I wanted to micro sample all of it. So let's start off with the first sample. I don't have a lot of the really super fine micro sampling techniques that Corey has, which I really found extremely impressive. But what I do have is this little thing called the Simpler in Ableton. And I just made sure that the sensitivity here, let me see actually if I can adjust it. You see how I'm adjusting the sensitivity right here? I'm changing the length of the chops, right? Let me return it back to where it was, 96. So I made sure the sensitivity was pretty high, which meant that all of the samples here are like less than a millisecond, really fine. So that allowed me to really just kind of just chop this record up pretty fine. What I also did is I had a delay in the chorus, but we'll get to that in a second. Let me just play how I chopped it. So this was kind of like the main chop that I went with. was almost like Circus Clown, very fun. I'm not gonna play the full Bob James sample. You guys can look that up if you want to, but because I know it's gonna get us kicked off for the YouTubes. But those instruments, I'm using a millisecond of them, and I also transposed it, so I think it's pretty microsampled. Um, anyways, so going with that weird kind of like poppy, kind of like almost offbeat melody, I kind of wanted to make the drums kind of follow that rhythm, right? So let's go over to the drums real quick, and I'll show you how I did those. So I'm utilizing 2 kicks. I have my open hi-hat, which you can never lose with the open hi-hat. It fills up space inside your drum beat in a very interesting, almost marching band like way. The double kick just allowed me to have a little bit of variety, and I threw the scratch in there as a percussive element. Then I have moto bass, moto bass. So I've been waiting to get my dusty paws in this VST for some time. Shout out E for saving me once again and giving me some of that good moto bass love. It's definitely not the type of VST that you can just throw it in and just instantly use, and all of a sudden you have amazing bass. You actually have to tinker with it a lot, but it's fun to tinker with. There's so many different guitars and basses, and there's so many different ways you can play it. I think you can even switch from left-handed to right-hand, and you can change the amp. You can change the strings, 4 strings, 6 strings, your play style, finger, pick, slap. It's pretty impressive. The dynamics that you can get it. So this is I'm just now getting my hands on it, so I haven't really dug deep into it, but I needed some bass to go with this record, so I threw that in there. And then I threw in this seems like I think it's a synth for good measure. So let's talk about the actual vocal sample. This is from the Ninth Wonder
as long as it
interview.
was done properly and licensed properly, so that all of the creative artists that are involved in it participate and can profit from it, then from my standpoint, the more the better. And
I really like Bob James' perspective on sampling, because he's like, yeah, and I'm cool with it as long as everybody gets paid and it sounds dope. That's like essentially his perspective, and you can't really hate on that. I don't believe he's cleared every single sample that anyone has ever sampled, so he's turned down artists before, I'm sure. But hearing Ghostface, do Daytona 500, and you figure his music is so far away from something like that, where he's like, who the heck is Ghostface Killer, and what is he doing to my sample? But I just think that when he heard that record, he was like, you know what, this is something completely different. I never imagined my music being used this way, but this is cool. I like this, and I guess these Wu-Tang guys are pretty popular, so why the heck not, right? So it's kind of dope to see how far his music has gone just because of the way people have used it. So yeah, I sampled that, but then I went ahead and sampled. I wanted to sample that vocal portion as well. So I micro-sampled that as well, using the same sampling technique that I spoke about before. But in addition, I pitch shifted it so it's kind of low, and then I put this weird sample sound effect on it, just for good measure. That gave me that Bob James Nautilus, you know what I mean, vibe. And that was everything that I pretty much did. And I'm gonna pass it over to my brethren then.
Yo, vintage piso with this beat right here.
100%.
Vintage piso. Yo, you know what I want to do? I want to go to a foreign land at night in some small cafe and get a couple glasses of wine. There's only about 6 people in this little cafe. There's a DJ though. There's a lot of smoke in the air, and DJ P is on the turntables and he's playing this track right here. This is dope.
Thanks for that.
Yo, my favorite part though is the not only the meta thing that you're doing there by sampling him talking about sampling, but the
yeah, you guys know I've been trying to go for that type of vibe since Lupe Fiasco's Gold Watch, you know, that whole use that crowd noise, random vocal noise as a rhythmic element in the beat. So that was fun. Thank you for that, Corey.
Yeah. I don't think that this beat made me feel like, all right, I'm gonna take this back, right? And correct me if the vehicle is wrong, but I believe it was a Taurus.
Oh.
This takes me back to Taurus days.
Wow.
Right around the time, I'm thinking it's like 2006, because you didn't move to New York yet. 2005, 2006, and you had just played me Thinking a Lot beat. And you had another beat that you made, but this was the kind of style that you used to get, like you used to go crazy in this vein. And it feels good to hear you go back to this style, like very bass heavy, drum active, very not really caring about the sample being concerned with the track. The beat was more important than the sample, but it fit in. And I love that you had that freedom in that you know, everybody else was like, okay, I got the sample, now let me make the beat fit. You made the beat and made the sample fit. And I think that is incredible that you did it that way, and you were able to tap into that right now and do it that way again. So kudos.
Thank you, sir. Much appreciated.
It was a Taurus, right?
Yeah, it was a Taurus. You got me.
Yeah.
That's sick beat. Love it.
I remember that day. Pulled up on Parkwood, like, yo, listen to this beat. That was back before you could email beats to people. You had to actually get in the car. Come outside. I made a beat. Fuck.
So we don't even have to spin a wheel today.
No. Oh, that's right.
Here we go.
But we can talk about this giveaway. Do you know more about the giveaway?
The giveaway, not yet. Yeah, we're finalizing details. So yeah, hopefully next episode we have it squared away. But we have something planned that's going to be really fun for everybody to get their hands on some gear and some 3BL gear too. So again, here we go. The backpack.
Yeah, man, that backpack is that's out of this world.
Yeah, it's really nice. So we got some other stuff to give away too.
Because it kept showing the space behind it. But no, I love it, and I can't wait to get mine. Now that I know that it fits my board and my laptop, I will have one very soon. So, guys, I thank you so much for tonight. It was dope. It was cool. I enjoyed myself. Big shout out to Thugzman for coming through and showing how articulate that people can be. With like, it's just so crazy. Like, when you hear the music and you talk to the person and then you hear all the other stuff he does, it's like it's like 3 different beings, right? So it's just dope to me every time I talk to him. And he's always doing something like ridiculously nerdy and crazy, like hacking computers and all types of stuff. Like, how do you know how to do all this stuff? And he said something to me one day that really changed my perspective on a lot of things. So I'll leave y'all with this little knowledge. drop right here. I asked him to teach me how to play keys a couple years ago. He was like, I'll teach you if you want me to, or I'll just tell you how I learned. I was like, okay, how'd you learn? He was like, I YouTubed it. He was like, I YouTubed how to do what I didn't know how to do. And then from there, I got better at what I knew, what I learned from there. So I will say to everybody now, because this was years ago before YouTube was the university that it is now. If you have a question about how to do something, go YouTube it. Go look it up. There's someone who had the same question and then turn that question into a platform. You can find any answer that you want. But if you can't, shoot that question to us, especially if it's about music, and we will find the answer and we will put it on the episode. So I will say that to you. Just make sure that you are using the free resources that you have available to you, because there's so much information that is overly available and underutilized.
Absolutely. And we're always welcome to take your suggestions or questions. Just email us. It's 3bl@3beatslater.com. That's actually right here over my shoulder. All of our contact information is there. So check us out.
Your shoulder, honey. Ooh.
There we go. Right here. Right here.
That shoulder. Yeah, that shoulder. Make the shoulder lean. All right. So next week is the theme song to a TV show challenge, and we will have Thugzman back to present a beat for that challenge. So that's gonna be a fun week, guys.
All right. Good stuff. Good stuff. Peace.
Peace out, everybody.